This week in Ahead of Parents, we're talking about the shift from when your kids aren't so little anymore. The point comes where all those conversations need to be put to the test as kids begin to go out on their own. Somewhere along the way, the parenting shifts from protecting to preparing. We're talking about safety, independence, and the reality that sometimes the scariest part of parenting is that you can't be with them all the time. Every week, it's an honest discussion about raising kids. I'm Michael Height.
I'm Sarah D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
And this is Hey the Parents.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again.
Heidi,
Hey!
what's up?
Buddies. Hey, guys. Toodly-doo.
Toodly-doo.
So, we're so glad that you guys are here to hang out with us. We figured this parenting thing in season 5 of Hey the Parents. For our current listeners, you know what you're in for. For those of you coming for the first time, welcome to Hey the Parents, the parenting podcast, where we have an honest discussion each week about raising kids. Each week we have a different theme, a different topic, and all about parenting. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into the main part of the podcast. And Sarah D, what are we talking about today?
All right, today we're talking about having those honest conversations with our children about safety when they go out with their friends. Ooh. And what are some of the strategies they could use and do.
This is going to be an interesting one. So we were like really trying to put on our thinking caps. We're trying to like get into the moment. And Mike and I were like, oh, I gotta figure this out. And Sarah's like, guys,
I got you.
Guys, I got this.
Got you.
It's not about hypotheticals.
I got you, bro.
No.
I'm going out tonight.
Right.
So Sarah D, she went out.
Research, man.
She had field
research.
Yes, I just had to make sure, the scenes were still scening and make sure.
How were the scenes? Were the scenes still scening?
The scenes are still scening. It was a good time last night, I have to say. Hanging out with the lady. And definitely, you know what? I was thinking about this episode in the back of my mind as, you bump into some peoples and have to interact with others that are not in your group and just being safe out there.
I love it. You take out the clipboard. You're like, I'm going to ask, a random person. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Please answer honestly. Rate this between a 1 and a 5. We're doing research.
That's exactly how it went.
The thing is that although it is kind of fun to talk about us going out and the idea of us being out on the town, which happens about almost never, the episode is really more about this idea of our kids going out because Sarah's got her daughter's getting a little older, and you got some family of the kids already in college, and you're at that point now where Sophia and other kids they're going by themselves.
Yes.
And that sort of triggered this thought of this episode of like, what is that like? And it is the very big shift from knowing exactly what they're doing to like this idea of hoping for the best, and then and hoping that all those little conversations sort of like sat right in where you're hoping they did.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I have a solution to all of this, and
what is it?
The solution is my children just won't go out. They'll just stay in with me.
That's pretty
for the
good.
Rest of their lives until they're 30, and then they can go out and explore the crazy world.
No, that's perfect because then the thing is that you can have then you'll constantly to pay for them. They'll live in your basement and it'll be good.
Yeah, I always tell Sophia, I'm like, can you just sit down? I want you just to sit down a little bit. Like, just be chill. She's literally coming back from the beach with her friends, so I hear her right now.
And you know what? It's funny. It's funny that we're talking about this topic because I actually had a conversation with my kids the other day about this and similar aspects to it. Like, I told my kids at dinner that, you guys are getting older. And as you guys get older, you're going to be wanting to hang out with your friends more and being away from mommy and daddy more. you know, but you guys have to remember, right? You have a younger sister, and, you know, her world is you guys, whereas your world is now expanding and your friends, you know, so like you got to spend more time with her. You got to play with her. You got to not forget about her, because my other two are closer in age, right? And when they were growing up, they had each other, and now 7 years later, you know, they, you know, the little one comes along. So there's like there's that 7 year kind of gap between them, and I get it. Like, you know, they don't want to play with her all the time because she's more childish. She's a baby. She's, you know, baby, yeah. She's a baby. I get it. But at the same time, right, she is your sister. And yeah, when you guys are 20 and 27, you're going to be the best of buds, you know, and going out and having a great time. You know, your older kids going out with their friends and stuff, you know, you try to just make them remember, you know, their younger siblings as well, because, you know, everybody gets caught up in their lives. Everybody goes out with their friends, hangs out. And, you know, I just try to keep that family dynamic still strong, you know?
Yes.
That's beautiful. So when they're going out for Hayden's 21st birthday and they're doing flaming Dr. Pepper shots.
Oh, no.
You'll say, we're so glad that you kept the family dynamic
together.
together.
They are going out when they're 30. Did you not hear my solution? 30.
It's good. Well, the good news is that some of our listeners may feel the same as you, but others may go a different route and want to talk about what's going to happen when the kids do go out before 30 or after 30.
Right.
So that's wild, but I think you're right. There's definitely something about, you know, keeping the family nice and together as they start to make their way out. But
yeah, no, and like not to forget, you know, like their siblings. But I think, like, you know, as much as we're joking around, like you want them to be on the couch, or, you know, like, or hanging out like home.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to like educate them. Like the world is exciting and it's like fun, and life, you know, like you want them to have a good life, good social life. But you also want to like prepare them, you know, like for some of the things that unfortunately there's people out there with bad intentions, or not even so much people, sometimes, you know, like people, but also too, like maybe like sometimes they might find themselves in a situation they did not want to be in.
Yeah.
You know, and I think those are conversations, like, without trying to scare them, you definitely have to do, because I think that is something I've kind of like struggled with Sophia a little bit, is like, hey, you know, like, be careful of this, be careful of that. But then, you know, like also thinking like how exciting everything is to go out to like to dance with a guy maybe, or to like meet new people. And I don't want her to be like a hermit, but to also just be like, be aware of stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But don't give out your social security number either.
Mm-hmm. Right. Don't give out your social security number. That'd be great.
So Sarah D, so this is maybe a good leaping off point. So what are some of the things that you think women maybe automatically think about when they go out that most guys don't even think about? What are some like maybe things that are like on the mind, or things that you are nervous about as
yes,
maybe your daughter going out, or you know?
I think the biggest thing is, besides after the initial mental breakdown of what we're gonna wear and nothing fits and everything.
Right. So
after that part.
No, but that's the same. That's good, because that's where I feel like so far we're at an even playing field, and I might also be panicking. Yes. So we're kind of in a good spot.
So that's the first step to going out, you know. So besides that, but like, you know, you think about like things like, I know, like the biggest rule I always tell my girls was that you leave together, you stay together, you know, like you go with everyone and you leave. Even if someone's like being like, your emotions are high and you're super annoyed, you just make sure everyone gets home. Like, you know, everyone has a ride home. We definitely all do the I'm home text, you know, like, that's something I think ladies think about. I think also too, another thing is like, you know, like, check out the scene. I always tell Sophia and Sonisha when she was younger, like, when you get to a place, just because like it's like the place to go to, or like what everyone's decided upon, get the feel, like, trust your gut. Like, if it feels like, ooh, like people are already a little too like acting a little crazy already and still kind of young the night, maybe that's not a good thing. You know, be aware of like the exits. Be aware of like any weird little like alleyways and stuff like that. Like when you go to the bathroom, always bring a partner with you, you know, like let your friends know I'm going to the bathroom, or going to, you know, get a beverage, or stepping outside quickly. Like you gotta like, you know, just communicate with each other, like where you're going to be. I think that's like the biggest thing I think, for like a young person, is that just communicate with your group of people that you're with, you know?
So the buddy system is important.
Yeah, I think a buddy system is like super important, you know, just to make sure that everyone kind of knows like where you are. So if it takes longer, then people could say like, hey, that's been a really long bathroom break. Like, let's make sure they're okay, you know?
Yeah.
And like, it could be a really long line, or maybe the friend needs help, or, you know, you never know.
For years growing up, God, girls always go to the bathroom as groups.
Right.
Things that guys will never understand.
Right.
You go to college, you go to parties, and you're like, what is happening? They go,
Yes.
it's a tribe,
I mean,
a tribe of bathroomage.
Like, your makeup, chit chat, talk garbage about someone, you know, but you know, all that
I feel like
stuff.
I'm missing out. I feel like that sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Right. And then like, you know, like I just remember like being younger, like walking through like crowds of people and like making sure like my girlfriend's behind me, you know, like, or holding her hand, like, you know, like as you're trying to squeeze through people, because, you know, other people try to squeeze your hand too. And you're like, oh,
Squeeze. Yeah, exactly.
like, no, please leave me
It's
alone.
like trying to follow someone and driving somewhere.
Yes.
Like, look in your rearview mirror.
Yep.
Make sure they're still there.
So you give a little quick look. You still with me? Good. All right, let's go. You know, so, but yeah, no, I think those are the biggest things. Like, you know, especially like, you know, like Sophia could be like sometimes she gets like annoyed with people, and I'm like, listen, dude, like I know, you know, so and so could get a little annoying, but please, like, don't just like walk off on people. Don't like yell. You know, like, or get so annoyed that you want to leave them. Like, you know, if you want to cut your evening short, cut it short, but like also make sure everyone has a like.
Go home together.
Yeah, go home
and then cut it
together,
short.
or because like there were times like she's cut the night short, and like friends have been left behind, but like they had rides home. Like, you know, like she like, you know, like May was annoyed or just wasn't feeling the vibe, but just like, all right, you know, like I got a ride home. Maybe I'm taking someone else. Those people are staying, but they got rides home. Like, you know, like. You know, so just making sure, like, even if you had to leave early, just make sure everyone's kind of good, you know?
Does it make you nervous when, like, or, I mean, obviously I'm based on some movies, you know what I mean? Or my sister growing up. I mean, everyone does it, guys and girls, is not really a thing, but does it make you nervous when, like, kids cover for each other and, like, that BS where they're, like, not really where they're supposed to be?
Oh, that makes me nervous. So we have
It, like, breaks the trust.
So we have the location thing going on. Yeah.
No, this is a big thing. This is interesting. So right, like we obviously there wasn't location
back in the day
services when we were younger, right? So how does that shake down?
So I think it's really like, I think they don't even like see it as an issue anymore. Like, you know, I think Sophia's pretty honest with me. You know, I'd be kidding myself if I don't think that she has like some secrets or has done a little something.
Yeah.
You know, like let's be real. But I think for the most part, she's pretty honest where she is. She has her location on. She's pretty good like with the time. A big thing we always talk to her about is like communicate. We want you home by 11, but it's gonna be like if you see that like the ride's taking longer or something like that. If I'm not driving, communicate that, you know, like so and so's mom is taking a little bit. She's coming. She's on her way. We don't have a ride anymore. Like communicate. Don't just like show up at like 11:30.
So wait 5 minutes after your curfew and then start communicating.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, communicate that something's happening, you know, like whatever. Yeah, so I think that's like the biggest thing. It makes me feel good too. Like just now she went to the beach and I was like, I need you home by 8 o'clock. And I was checking just now her GPS just to see where she was. And I hate doing it, but like at the same time, like I'm like, okay, it's Sunday and I'm like, it's the evening and like she has school, you know, like please don't abuse
And then
this.
what about the idea of like, before we switch out of this topic, have you experienced anything with like kids will like for location services, like they'll like leave their phone where they're supposed to be and they just leave their phone there?
No, because
so it looks like they're where they're supposed to be. Or no?
Because she's talking. Trust me, my child is
That's a good point.
Talking to me the whole night.
Yeah, she doesn't get a chance to tell you where she's at because she's not stopping.
She is, yeah, because it is. Can we do this? And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be somewhere enjoying yourself? Like, why are we worrying about your hair tomorrow?
So she's giving you like a live tweet,
like a live tweet. Live update. This person annoying me. Oh, am I gonna get my hair done tomorrow? Oh, can you make this thing for me tomorrow? Like, so like throughout the night, like
it's like constant requests.
It is. I'm like, yo,
I'm hungry. Can you make me a sandwich? Wait, you're not even here. That would already for me.
I have a question, Sarah, because I, this is making me think about my future here with my daughters and stuff. And, Taylor has her, her idea of rules and things of, what a daughter should be allowed and not allowed to do. And I have my ideas, and I guess I'm a little bit more strict, right? I get more nervous, more fearful, whereas Taylor, is more understanding.
She's a girl.
She's a girl, right? So, and I'll give you, for example, like Elliot was walking home from school one day, right? And I have school is within eyesight of our house, right? It's only a couple blocks. You could see it. You could see my daughter walking up. But, Taylor was working from home, and, she really couldn't get to Elliot and at the time. And, she was like, all right, have your phone on FaceTime. You walk home. And I was like, oh my God, like, what did you do? Our daughter can't walk home. You should have told me. I would have came out of nowhere, like I was freaking out. And Taylor's like, it's fine. Right. It's fine. She's on FaceTime. Right. I'm watching her, and I'm like, well, and I'm like kind of getting into argument. I'm like, we should have discussed this. Like, I didn't know you told her she could walk home. Like, that's okay. Like, I didn't know this. So my question to you is, do you and Jean see eye to eye when your daughter goes out to these parties and things? Because now that is the fear that I am kind of worried about, is that, Taylor will have her ideas and, of what Ellie and Hayden and Lucas can do, at parties, and I would be a little bit more strict, I guess. I don't know.
I thought you were going to be like, so Sarah, based on our conversation, is Taylor wrong?
No. Taylor's always right. Taylor is always.
Taylor's like, Mike, you got to calm down. I was right here. I could see her walking home. She's FaceTiming me.
I can't even believe you dated me. If you had only known what a creep I was. No kidding. I don't know.
Jean and I, we don't always see eye to eye. But then we're also we're on the same page. So I think the biggest thing is that, one, she's communicating that she's going to hang out with a bunch of friends, or they're going to get together of some sort, or or a party. It's just it's the events that have turned into on the news that she might have been on, and we didn't know it was going to be.
Like, she just left someplace, and you're like, oh, she was there.
Deal. So
oh, wow.
But, as parents do, we like to do the blame game. Well, I didn't know, but you're supposed to know. You didn't ask enough questions. I'm like, well, I don't I'm working with the information that I'm given from our child, and our child's like, I didn't know it was gonna be this big either. And
child's like, I left out part of the story, and that's the same as lying. No,
same. might have been kind of, and I'm always more I trust my child,
until they don't.
But I think. One is she's not out every weekend partying or something like that. Most times it's her girlfriends get-togethers. They hang out at someone's house, whatever. Low key stuff. So she's not out there at the raves or anything like that. But when she's gone to this is a party tonight, it's okay, where is it? Where's the location? And the biggest rule, Jean says, we drive her there and we don't like what we're seeing, then she's not going. That's we have the ultimate veto power to that. If we see we're yep, this is not your scene, we're out, and certain neighborhoods we're not too fond of are her going. So she doesn't, she kind of knows at this point, if it's at this location, I'm not going. But I think.
Yeah. Have you encountered that? You drove her somewhere and you're like, no, you're not going here. And did she get mad
He did that. He I think they winded up staying because the area wasn't, but he wasn't thrilled, And but I always tell her anytime I drive her to her friend's house or even her friend's mom also and dad says the same thing. If I drive you someplace and I see we don't like it, then that's it, because even with the beach thing today, I was driving her and in my head, Rebecca and I we chatted. And I think that's the biggest thing is communication with the other parents. Everyone needs to be on the same page. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I trust Rebecca like wholeheartedly, like if she sees that she doesn't like where they're going or doesn't like a crowd, and I give her complete power to say, no, we're not going here today.
Is that one of your daughter's friends?
Yeah,
moms
yeah.
or something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, she's like, well, just check out the scene, like because I was like, oh my God, I'm scared. I hope like they just like impromptu beach thing. Like, is there anything going on that we should know about? So, I dropped her off and I, like obviously it's a public beach. So I looked around. I was like, okay, it looks like it's just like a calm, like they're just getting together. It's a nice, beautiful day and they just have the itch, to go. So, and then like I texted mom, I was like, it looks good. It's close, everything's good. And then like her dad was going to come pick them up later. So like, I think that's like the biggest thing is like, I think obviously you and your spouse needs to be on the same page in terms of like what's allowed, and having those conversations and knowing that like, yes, if things go sideways for whatever reason, to still call us and we might be upset in that moment. Yeah. But most importantly, your safety is the biggest thing, you and your friends. And
and I think that's really sound advice, because it's like me and Taylor are always on the same page. Like it's crazy sometimes, like when we talk to each other, we're like, oh my God, we think so alike. But then when it comes to our daughters, like I am different from her way of thinking, and it sometimes clashes. So it's like
very common because I think dads, you guys know on the other side of things of like what guys, kind of think or do.
Right. I mean, we were,
and how messed up this world is.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we were in the dating pool also in college and, meeting girls or whatever and going to parties and
then I think
you see like the ugliest side of people and the best side of people. And, it's just wild to be in each other's shoes.
Independent ladies, like, like, no, like we want, but we also, if you shelter a girl, I think too much in some ways, then you're setting her up for not being street smart. So you want them to have
that, Mike Levine. You can't keep her in the basement.
I know. I'm gonna turn her into Rapunzel. Rapunzel.
I think you need to watch the full movies because Rapunzel didn't end the way you think it did.
I know. No, I get it. I get it. It's just it's hard sometimes, I guess, relinquishing that kind of like trust for your daughter to go out into the world and be her own individual woman, and do her thing.
That's like the thing is like you hope that with all those little small life lessons you taught them along the way, expectations and having those honest conversations, when they mess up, how you react allows them to then go out into the world and like again, like to say like, hey, come get me, like I don't like this scene, I'm scared, like, or I'm worried,
I like that,
or I'm just annoyed, it's not for me tonight, and it's like, okay, good, like fine,
good, proud of you.
Yeah, no, I think that's like the biggest thing is like always, I always tell them too, I'm like, make good decisions.
I know.
As they're walking away, make good choices.
I know, but that one, like, I feel like that one is funny because, like, when I hear you say it and then I say it to you and we say it like to people, there's something about that is definitely tongue-in-cheek sarcasm in the biggest way possible. But it's true,
But I hope it sinks it.
So yeah, exactly. You just hope so. But we talked about this a while ago. There was something that Sarah and I heard from a wiser, sagely older grown-up-y person at work who had daughters and sons and stuff that were in college and stuff. And I like that she had this idea. I know we've talked about the podcast before about this idea of how to go around the process of getting picked up when the scene goes bad. And one of the things was, what was it? Just sending a star?
Oh, yes.
Is that what it was? So you send a star, the kid sends a star or like an asterisk, whatever, on their phone to the adult. You get the phone call, you look it down, you see the dot, you're like, uh-ohs, and then you call your kid and you come up with a convoluted reason as to that there's a family emergency and you must pick up your child. That initiates the pickup. So like you are the parent, you're going to tell your kid like, I got you. There's something going on. You don't want to be there anymore. I got it. I'm picking you up because they're your great grandmother's cousin, neighbor's dog's roommate got out of the house. Wait, no, the dog did. And I need to get you right away because we need to go to the dog hospital. I don't know. So then you drive the house, you get the kid, you're like, sorry, you got to go. You could blame me. I don't care. We're getting you out of there. And then your kid sits there. They look at you and you're like, and they say, thanks for getting me. You're like, no problem, kiddo. and then they say, "You're the best parent ever," and you say, "I know I am," and then you drive away into the sunset. But that idea is, I guess, like the thing is like in a way, I guess part of the episode is like really like, you know, the social story piece, the part of like how do you get your kid to understand about like the process of like doing it, like how do you help them doing it, and then that's kind of cool that like it's kind of like a script in a way of like how to get that kid out the door when that happens, because like, you know, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess like part of me thinks about the idea that like there's a difference between being at a party where like, you know, kids are drinking, which, you know, obviously not great, but it's a thing and it happens and we know that. But then like when drugs start coming out and all of a sudden now you're at the risk of being somewhere where you could get in trouble because of somebody else's actions or whatever else. That's where it starts to get a little dicey. And I don't love that.
That's the scary stuff.
And I think that's where it is. And that's where you kind of want to be like, you know, my dude, I hope you know to get the heck out of there, because that's not a good scene.
And I think like especially like Sophia going to college and stuff like that, that's where I get nervous with that kind of stuff. Like, you know, because now she'll really be out like in the scene, you know, like a little Thursday, Friday, Saturday situation. You know, and like, so I've been thinking about like getting stuff to like help her, you know, make sure that she's like safe without being like dorky. I don't know. Like there's like things out there like a little cover for your drink, you know? No,
this is good. Let's talk about this stuff.
And like,
because like it's important. This is separate from peer pressure now. This is not a peer pressure conversation. This is just about a full out smart move conversation, right? So what do you want to talk about that?
So I think like, you know, like there's covers like for your drinks or whatever. And like, I was just like looking at, there was one that's even like a scrunchie, and then like you could put it over your drink. So like you have you always have it on. You have it in your hair, you have it in your wrist, and then you're like, oh, okay, I got my drink, and you put a cover on just to make sure like no one like slips with it or messes with it or spills.
And it looks normal too. Cool. It's like and because girls always have a scrunchie or
like
something,
it doesn't feel so dorky, you know, like things like that, you know, or like there's like this like nail polish I saw that you can actually put your finger in and it'll change colors if something is in there that's not supposed to be in there. So like all you need is one finger.
The nail polish itself changes colors?
All you need is like one finger with that. And like, and like you could put your, you know, like how many times have you like, you know, like put your finger in a drink and like, you know, mix it around a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So like,
definitely.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good idea.
Because like that's the thing, like teaching your kids, like, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe this is just like, you know, going away to school and all that. But like, once a drink leaves your vision, if your drink leaves your eyesight, you trash it. It's over.
That's also a big rule.
You
Keep your
don't
eye on your
go
drink.
back to it.
Any kind of drink, water, anything. Because honestly, like you don't know what's been done to it or, you know, or whatever. But that's just like keep your eye on your drink. Even Jean's mom used to always tell us that even up until we were married, and you know, she'd be like, "Oh, don't leave your drink alone." You know, she would always tell Jean, you know, don't put your drink down all the time.
It's because she didn't trust you.
I guess
she thought you were going to drink her son.
No, but I think even for boys, I think that's a big thing. Because Jean's mom always said that to him. And was there in the news like some young man was like out partying with his friends or whatever, and he was like really, really inebriated, and he unfortunately passed away.
Got laced.
Yeah, I think they said that like, something might have happened with the drinks. So like people think, you know, maybe not even for, you know, like assaulting someone.
Oh, like it's just girls, and it's just like, you know,
for boys too. Like thinking like it's kind of funny maybe to see someone like, you know, not having the best time of their life, you know, but you're thinking it's funny or entertaining, you know. So I think that's a good idea for everyone to have like their drink covered. You just never know. People are weird, you know.
And then if we could go into the so we saw this video, right? And okay, I don't know in the video. Sarah and Mike and I were talking. We saw the video, and it was on Threads, and it was this girl, and she's at this bar, and she says to the waiter that there's a guy that's creeping her out, right? Although there is the aspect that in the video, the girl's recording herself having this conversation, so there's that other aspect of it too. But let's take that out of it for a second. But the girl says it's the waitress, and the waitress says like, if some guy's bothering you, you could ask for something called an angel shot. Now, I don't know if this is a thing that is the case in like lots of establishments with waitresses and waiters and bars and stuff. But according to this, and listeners, we definitely want to hear from you if you've heard of this before. So this is the process. So you say to the waitress or waiter, I would like an angel shot. And then that is a way of telling them like there's somebody bothering you and that you need help. Because somebody won't leave you alone. And there were 3 different ways to order the shot. One was neat. Neat's just like, or a cocktail, like warm, basically, your shot. And in neat, it was that they would escort you to your car. Cool. If you order on the rocks, they call you an Uber. And if you order your angel shot with lime, they call the police. Wow. So that was wild that this like system is in place. That I had never even heard of this. And Sarah, I don't think you or Mike ever heard of this either.
No, never.
So I am kind of curious if this is like a thing that was just like, one video in a place, or if this is something that's like more established, But with all of that said, let's just take that all out the window for a second. I wouldn't be surprised if you were at a place and somebody was hassling you. If you could ask your waiter or bartender and be like, yo, if somebody's bothering me, can I get some help? I can't imagine that is not something that they're equipped to help you with.
I mean, is it that like people are just scared to ask for help that they create these codes? Like, I'm sure at the, if you're at a bar, and you're sitting there talking to somebody, you excuse yourself to the bathroom and, maybe, I don't know, maybe I think it's, maybe I don't know because, different perspective, but just saying it's pretty smart idea though.
I mean,
because people do get intimidated.
Yeah, no, I think
if someone's being a creep and they're all over you, I don't think you really have the luxury of,
there's
saying exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think sometimes like it's uncomfortable, especially if someone's like quite getting the hint, like like I'm not interested, or like leave me alone, please, or not, please, and they kind of like just like not picking up on that. So it might be like a nice way to be like, hey,
I know. It kind of reminded me of me and my friends when I was younger. We had anytime we wanted to leave a party or leave something because it just wasn't
code terminology
happening. We had a code term, and it was the code term was war pig. War pig. So anytime I'd go to my friend and be like, war pig?
Wait,
like, war pig?
Seriously?
We're out.
I love that.
Yeah.
I thought that was like your video game character name.
It was a video game character
funny.
name, but it was so funny that we one time went to this party and we're like, all right, we need a code word to get out of here. And I was like, why don't we just use my war pig tag?
Right.
So, and then it just stuck for every other party.
You know what? That's amazing.
To.
Like, but even for like, again, like for guys, like, maybe the scene is not good because you can go, may not necessarily be like harassed, but it could be like a scene where you're like, oh, this feels like it might be like, it's going to end like with some fights or something like that, And then you're like, great, it's time to go. Exactly. Or just,
Yeah, because guys, I think like,
all that testosterone.
at least maybe guys are thinking so far into the hidden. They're like, can we get the F out of here?
Right.
And then that's pretty much it.
Right.
But but like go grab what's his name? Let's get out of here. everybody
get
good.
here.
We're all together. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Go grab Bob. We're out.
Yeah. So allegedly, this is something that came up. I was looking while we were war pigging. It was some places have posters in the bathroom stalls.
Oh yeah.
Some places have coded drink names. Some places have QR codes to discreetly ask for help. Another campaign, especially in the UK, is Ask for Angela.
Oh.
That's interesting, right? Actually asking for a person that doesn't really exist. Or imagine there's one girl named Angela that works for me. Why do people keep asking for her? Yeah. All right. That's interesting. Obviously like, security staff jumping in, a bartender reading the situation, but that's not always like, you can't always rely on that because obviously they're there to make money. They're not really focusing on that,
right.
But, no, this is good. That's interesting.
No, it's really good. I mean, that kind of reminds me, like I've seen those like TikToks and social media things or whatever, or YouTube shorts where like, somebody is in a car and, they're doing like hand signals to like let them know that they're in trouble or something like that, and like
to be
universal hand signals.
Yeah, right.
So it's actually Same kind of concept. Just have like a signal to be like, all right, it's time to get out of this party. You know?
Yeah, this party's dead anyway. What about this balance of like trust and tracking and updates and checking in? So like we've got like, you know, obviously this is different, you know, having Life 360 when your kid's in college maybe is a different story. Right. But well, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe it's another conversation to have. You know, maybe it's just knowing you don't end up you know, in a ditch. But maybe that's inappropriate. I don't know. I don't have any kids in college. What about so right now? Like, do you, as a family, do you all have the like? Because we you know obviously we do Find My iPhone. You know, we just know where everybody is. That's just kind of just the way it is. Is that acceptable and understood?
I think so. Yeah, I think everyone. I don't know. I just feel like it's just so common. Like it's almost like weird not to like have that for your kid.
Right. Like you're not like in your you're not like in your mid-20s with a job and like that's a different. It's not, you know.
I think that's more acceptable. But what about like having like a check-in time, like checkpoints, like text me at 9, text me at 10, text me at 11. Is that appropriate? You know, is that too crazy?
I think we've done that especially when Sophia started going out more, not necessarily like to a party, just going out in general would be like, all right, you know, by like 9:30, you should be texting us saying that you're getting ready to leave, or, you know, making sure that you got a ride home or something like that, you know, to get home in time for curfew.
Oh my God. I remember my parents when I was younger, this is before cell phones, not to show my age, but I had a beeper, got a beeper, very short-lived, had a beeper. And my parents had this thing where they were like, I think it was like, if we call you on the beeper, you have 10 minutes to call us. Something like that.
Find a quarter,
like a specific amount of time. Yeah, find a quarter, find a payphone. And if it was like, you can't do that, you're screwed. And that was it. It was the check-in. It was like that. But I will say though, that wasn't like a set time. That was like, or maybe in their mind it was, but like they could text you, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, time to call.
Gotta call the parentals.
Mike has Jacob. You know, Jacob's getting there. He's at an age where he wants to kind of like hang out, probably late with his friends. Has he gotten there yet, or not really?
He has, but you know what? I feel like at this point in the game, there's probably some in betweens, but like I guess there's no cars involved. It's just like he's going to a person's house.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, which doesn't mean he can't get in trouble and there can't be problems, but he's just going to someone's house. The most exciting thing that he's done is they've gone to like the local elementary school and played Manhunt.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, kind of innocent, I guess,
cool.
right? But
that's cool.
But
he hasn't wanted to hang out at a mall. Is that still a thing actually? Like, do people still hang out at malls?
Yeah.
You know?
Ugh.
Like, that's a kid thing, right? Like, you walk around the mall, get some food, go to an arcade, but I don't know if they
you
have
get yourself an Orange Julius, you fall in love, you know?
Film Mall downstairs, a huge arcade, plushy game area. No, it's like cool. So,
man, no, but you're right. We haven't really, because every kid is different.
Yeah, every
you
kid.
know, Jacob's not.
Yeah, like Julian's like he went to the mall like once or twice, and he's like, all we did was walk around. This stinks. And I'm like, see, like.
I hate walking.
Yeah, I hate walking.
No.
Yes. Boys, I just feel like boys are different. Do you know what I mean? Like girls.
I know, but Julian, that's where you got to fall in love. You're gonna find the love of your life there. You don't know it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, right? I don't know.
Right at the arcade over a plate of nachos.
Oh man, that's kind of the dream there. Don't dig it. You don't knock it. I feel like there is, you know, that is a thing. It's kind of different. Every kid's so different. You know, like it could be, you know, the next kid comes along, and then it's like, well, okay. So for example, so Jacob went. He has some friends, and they go ice skating sometimes, which is kind of a thing because Jacob doesn't actually know how to ice skate, so it's a thing. But anyway, he's not the only one. So anyway, so like these girls go, and sometimes it's boys and girls, sometimes just the girls, and they'll go, and sometimes like, you know, one of them will be like, oh, you know, start to like talk to the guys, get a little flirty, try to get the numbers, and it turns into that interaction with like, you know, it's innocent, but it's like interesting because now that like, you know, now that I'm the parent, hearing about stuff on the other end of it all, the you know, after it ends the next day or whatever, there's like, it's interesting to hear how kids could be very different.
Yes.
how like some kids are all down to clown. They really want to like, you know, they get excited in the moment about like meeting people and that sort of stuff. And then the other way around is like kids could be like, don't get me involved in this craziness with random strangers and stuff like that. I don't want to talk to random boys or girls, whatever. I hate this. Don't put me in this situation. So it is interesting, but I guess 8th grade could go either way. You know, they could be like, you know, all ready to be interacting in the world. And other kids could just be like not at all ready for that. So I guess the short version is it just depends on your kid. But it doesn't sound like I'm there yet.
Lucas is similar in that aspect where he just doesn't like to get involved in the drama, wants nothing to do with any of all of that. You know, he likes hanging out with his friends and stuff, but you know, he also likes coming home. You know, I mean, he's still, you know, he's 12 years old, but he's turning 13. He's got that preteen status, you know. But I could totally see Elliot being the social butterfly. Dad, I want to stay out till 11. Can I? Or something like that. You know, whereas Lucas would be home and playing video games or, you know, just relaxing in his bed, you know. But it's like you said, each kid's different. And, you know, I get worried. I get scared. You know, I get...
you start spiraling and nervous thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
You know?
Yeah, no, it gets to getting older. Oh man, all the things that happens.
What about like this is like a conversation that kind of is sort of related but not like I guess like you know, like as an adult I feel like growing up I didn't really see my parents drinking that much in the house. Like like socially if we were at like a party or something, like maybe my dad would have some like random cocktail. It was actually more shocking to watch my dad have a drink than anything else. Like, what is that? Is that a rusty nail? What's a rusty nail? What are you drinking? You know, it's like, you know, go to apartments for a wedding. It was like, wow, Dad's drinking something that's yellow. So I feel like for us, I think we're always in the back of our mind. We're kind of thinking about like, what do the kids see us, you know, drinking or not drinking, or like, you know, are we acting, you know, are we acting responsible, or are we giving, or, you know, we don't want to portray this message of just like, you know, like a bad Budweiser ad of everyone drinking, having fun, partying. But I guess like it's, we do think about that, what the kids see us doing. Do you ever like, you know, see a family gathering, people coming over? I guess we don't really have people that are like, you know, completely belligerent, you know, in front of the kids. I guess that's something that like, or we're not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess that's like one of those things that I kind of think about, like, you know, what they see, what they perceive.
No, I actually, I think about that all the time. And I make it a point for them to see me when I'm drinking, because I want them to see, like, and I'll get to a point where not like I'm like belligerent, but I'm kind of like toasty. Like you're Frank the Tank? You know? Yeah. Like that. No, more like I'm loosey-goosey, you know? But, you know, and I do it because I want them to see, like, I can stop myself and limit myself once I get to a certain point and kind of control myself, rather than go over the top and like be belligerent, drunk and crash, you know, or do something stupid. And I think that's the point in why I do it, is because I want them to just know, like, hey, just because you're friends, you're at a gathering, doesn't mean you keep drinking yourself to oblivion. You drink to a point where you're okay, you're calm, you're loosey goosey or whatever, but you know, you got to know when to cut yourself off. And you know, I try to do that whenever there is a, like, for instance, like we do a block party, so like that's a time that I could do it, you know. Yeah, when you're flipping burgers. Or you know, I'm obviously not going to do it at like Christmas dinner. No. You know what I mean? You know, but like at a fun social event, you know, where like a block party.
You know, it's good for them to kind of see good behavior around drinking and alcohol. Right. You know? There are times that like,
well, because like part of them thinks that you're like either like you're like, you know, that you're like a priest, or, you know, like if you don't do anything. which is also that probably isn't so great either.
I mean,
because you're almost like you're not relatable.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
It goes back to what Sarah said. You don't want to shelter them from the world.
That's not
right?
what Sarah said.
These things
That's
are,
what you said.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Sarah said that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, she was saying that to me, right? Because I'm trying to turn my daughter into Rapunzel, right?
That's right.
So
Mike's gonna flip it. He's gonna start making moonshine in his basement. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So it's like you want to try to create a space that is not too crazy, but also show some restraint.
It is crazy.
You know?
Oh.
Yeah.
And also too,
so-
like like for example, like if we're having like a pool party and there's a lot of kids, like I will blatantly say, "Oh, I'm not drinking today." Like because or if like Sophia is getting picked up and maybe we're hosting or something like that, I'd be like, "Oh, can you like let me know because like I would like to partake in the festivities." I was like, "But I can't do so until I pick you up." Or if you can get a ride for me, I would appreciate that. So,
right.
Or I'll say you need to get a ride because I plan on having, like drinking or whatever, to drink a little bit or whatever. Just because I do that, whether because now that you said it, I was like, oh, I do that. I think slightly on purpose too, is to kind of say like
with the driving
to
part
show
of it,
like
at least.
I'm being responsible or like I'm not drinking. We have a lot of kids in the pool. I want to make sure everyone is safe.
I don't want to mess with that. Like, I mean,
that.
at least in front of our kids, like if once the driving part of it enters the equation, I don't even want to. I don't even want to. I don't want one drink.
No,
I don't want anything.
Yeah, I mean, my luck. I'm gonna get pulled over.
Of course.
I didn't stop fully at the stop sign, and then all of a sudden, little Sarah's in handcuffs. I don't. I'm not meant for that life.
Same.
I am the same way. I am the same way. I should have prefaced that too. Like I do that drinking thing. Most of the drinking things that I do are at my house. So it's like my block party, my backyard, a pool, but I don't really go drive to other people's houses and drink or do anything
and I
like
think that's
that.
like the biggest thing is I try to tell them and I share that with them because I want them because like they've seen us have like in the backyard, have a good time, but I also want them to know that like you're right, like there's self-restraint or there's a time for it and there's a time not for it, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Right.
I think it's smart.
Yeah, it's just it's all about the experience.
Are you gonna use it every episode?
Every episode, because I love the line. I love it.
It's definitely your line. I love it.
Yeah,
but you're right. There's something I don't know. It's really weird because like we talk about so many times on this podcast about like things that we watch our parents do or expectations, but there's like a definite variation of that of like our experiences watching it and then growing up and perceiving it. And I think like I looked at my parents as sort of like out of touch in a way. And because they were out of touch, I sort of like, I don't know if that was such a good thing for me because I was like, that's it. I'm going to go to college. We're going to have a good time. They don't know what they're doing, but that was maybe, I don't know what the right thing is. Cause obviously, the pendulum swinging the other way. You're also like, well, my parents drink and they have a good time. Maybe I should be doing the same. So I don't really know what the right answer is. The real right answer is, I guess, moderation, which obviously Mike just said, but I don't know. I do think that for us, at least, there's like a 0% tolerance on driving and alcohol. So that's kind of like a thing that I think that
yes. I mean,
we want them to get
the
from
law,
us.
So we definitely want to make sure.
Of course. Yeah, of course. But, one drink is kind of, that's where things get a little bit, the gray areas. I don't love that.
No, same.
Yeah, but it's also important for them to know that rule. I'm the same way, 0 tolerance with driving, but also with your friends. Like if your friends are freaking drinking and don't get in the car with them, just like drinking and driving, 0 tolerance for as well.
Yes,
but I guess we talked about party safely, knowing when to leave. I like that, right? We did the calling home with no fear. One thing we didn't talk about, which I guess something maybe we just wanted to touch on, and I don't know how to have this conversation with my kid because there's been like we've seen like special things where companies, whatever, or organizations will come to schools and that sort of thing, and they give talks to kids. But that one thing I found really interesting with all that was the perception from like kids going to high school, like younger kids, whatever, like ninth graders, whatever else, seeing older classmen who look like they have it together. Mm-hmm. And then they're drinking and then they're doing drugs and things. And then they still look like they could kind of handle it. And to me, I think that is the scariest thing, because the perception is, oh, well, they're like an A student. They play a sport. They're doing great. And they're drinking and smoking and doing whatever on the weekends. And they could handle it. So I could probably handle it too. Right. And I don't love that. And I don't necessarily know how to have that conversation with my own kids. But I guess like that's something that maybe how I'm saying it right now is how you start the conversation,
right?
Because it's.
I was just gonna say,
because everybody could get hooked on drugs differently. That's the thing, right? You hear about all these stories of like it doesn't affect one person, but the next person takes like a major painkiller, and all of a sudden,
yes, and then it's for life. Yeah, like you get painkiller from surgery, you get hooked. So like,
right?
Everyone's different. I think as parents, we try to have the answer for everything, or to have like a definite feeling about stuff. And like I'm sure I probably confuse Sophia sometimes too, but I'll be like, yeah, I'm okay with the situation right now. And then there are days I'm like, I'm not okay with it. I don't know. Like I'm not feeling it, or
like you don't have to justify it.
Yeah,
You just
like
or
just talking like about certain situations, be like, I don't really have a feel. Like I don't know how I feel about this,
right.
And just having that conversation, like, what are your thoughts about it? And like, what do you, and like having that back and forth, because you don't always have to have the answer,
Yeah.
That's
true. I ask you guys, do you ever talk to your kids about, when you guys were younger and you went to parties and things like that, or no?
Not yet, but I probably should.
Yeah, I guess.
Not yet.
I guess I do, but not often.
And just because the reason I ask is because, like, I have had these conversations with my kids about, obviously, a lot more limited because my kids are younger than your kids, But they always, like, they'll always bring up a time where I talk to them about something, like whenever it occurs, like. For instance, oh, Dad, like with that one time when you were with your friends or something like that, they'll say that to me. And I think, and I'm glad that they do that, because that's the whole reason why I talk to them about the being at the parties and doing things, or, at parties or stuff like that, is just so that they have a reference or a guide of how to handle situations. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know if it'll help. I don't know if it'll do anything. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. But I just feel at least I'm doing something, because you can't do anything really, right? Like if your children go to a party, it's on them. Like whatever they decide to drink, whatever they decide to, take in or whatever, that's just on them. And you have no control, no way to help that situation. All that you have is what you've taught them and what you hope that they've taken in from your teachings. So and that's why I just try to give my kids as much of the experience that I've had, so that they know how to handle the things that they encounter in the world.
Yeah. No, I think I shared some stories, like here and there, or like little parts of things. I don't know. I think sometimes I have a hard time. Like, I don't want them to see me.
Yeah, I know it is.
Like, like messing up. But I think they need to know. There's been.
But that's the beauty in it, right? Because yeah, Mom and Dad aren't perfect either. We just know. From experiences and the issues that we've done.
And then like also, and probably also is like, are they like, is she even interested to hear back in my day when I was a young thing too, like.
You know, you'd be surprised because my kids love it.
Yeah.
They bring up all the times that me and my brothers have done stupid things.
Oh,
or,
yeah, like those stories I tell them, but I'm talking about like the mama going out stories when she wasn't a mama. You know?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, try it out, you know, and I think it'll be. I mean, obviously, maybe tailor the story a little bit so that it.
Is that what you said? Is that what you and your wife call it?
Yeah, we tailor it.
Yeah, she's like, "What did you just say?"
we censor it a little bit.
Yeah,
You know?
we call that tailoring.
I love it.
That's amazing.
I know.
I love it. So I guess it really comes to the point where, you know, you kind of say to yourself, I learned from having lots and lots and lots of mistakes. And I guess our kids are going to have some of those mistakes too, but I guess you can't protect them from everything. But it's part of it. But I do think there were I think there were some good things to talk about today. I think there were some good strategical things, some good get your head down straight and maybe how to have this conversation with your kid, or I don't know. I guess it's kind of where we are, but we'd love to hear from you guys for a show. The question this week for you at home is, what safety precautions did you have, or do you have when you go out, or did you go when you went out when you were younger? We're kind of curious about these little things that maybe you did to keep yourself safe, or wish you had known back in the day. Info's in the show notes. You know what to do. So now we're going to shift on over to the next part of our show. It is called Time to Unplug. Yay. This is the part of the show where we think about the things that go on outside of our children. Because you know what? Sometimes when you're on the couch and they're out and you're home and they're doing things and you're checking on them, you also have some time to spend some time with your spouse or flying solo. Whatever it is. It gives a chance to decompress because you'll be a better we if you take care of me. And with that,
Sarah D.
Oh, Mike's got his Legos. He's ready, but we're going to Sarah D. Mike Lee, you have to wait your turn with that Lego there. Sarah D, what do you got?
Oh, right. I got, so Gene and I are watching $1 Million Secret, and it's like a reality show. There's the millionaire, and like you're supposed to, like, if I get the box with the money, I'm supposed to like complete some missions. Hopefully you don't find out who I am, so you don't vote me off, and then I can stay longer and then like I can.
Oh, it's like a reality show?
Yeah, it's like strategy, you know. And it's
cool.
like, guess who's the millionaire now? Because then the box goes to like a different person, and you try to figure out that they're the millionaire. But at the end of the show, the goal is to wind up with the box with $1 million. So it's been very entertaining. I have to say, an easy watch, something enjoyable.
I like that.
So what about you, Mike Levine?
Yeah, I know he's got a toy in his hand.
I got it right here. Now the listeners can't see it, but
is that?
So I went shopping.
Ship this for a more civilized era.
It's a Star Wars ship, right? So I went shopping. Target. You know, we went to Target and we were just getting like, you know, the daily shopping stuff, right? And Target had an exclusive Mandalorian spaceship here called the Razor Crest. And of course, me being my 39-year-old man, you know, had to get my little action figure, you know. And I was like, you know what? I haven't gotten one of these Star Wars figures in a long time, and I really want one. And I went out there and I bought one. Yeah. I used to collect these figures. It's like Action Fleet. And it's funny because I'm like, when I bought this and I opened it, I'm like, wow, the ones way back when were so much better because they had stands and like you could like prop it up and create like a scene with it with the stand and everything. And like these didn't come with stands. And I'm like, they're more expensive than the ones that I bought when I was younger. So I was like, what the heck?
Right. But apparently the price did not go down.
Yeah. So, but it was really cool. And, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you still want to get an action figure, you definitely can.
You know, that's good advice. I am curious for when you come back and you tell us that your one more thing was seeing the Mandalorian Grogu.
Oh, that's next. That's next week.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to hearing about it because I'm curious if it's going to be like, boy, that was an expensive episode of The Mandalorian to watch out of my house.
I know. Well, me and Lucas have been watching the Mandalorian series, and we were Not that you need to watch the series, I think, to watch the movie, but we just wanted to get all that context in there. So,
did you finish? Are you guys all caught up?
We watched Return of the Jedi, and we watched almost all of season 1, and we're gonna actually start another episode after this podcast.
Oh wow, nice! Look at you. That's impressive.
And what about you, Mike? What do you got going on?
It has to be like a vampire thing. You have to invite me in. See, I wait for that. All right, so I found something great. So, I feel like this is one of those things too, where like if you like, you know, I'm probably like was living under a rock, and I'm like one of the last people to hear of this. So a while ago, Sarah and I were at work, and we had like some sort of training day. We had some time to like, you know, blow some steam, whatever else. And we popped on this episode called Game Changer. And it was on Dropout TV, and at the time we were watching it, kind of not paying attention to it. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny, whatever. Left it. That was like 2 years ago. Okay, so I go back and I put on Game Changer one night. So it's on Dropout TV. Dropout TV is used to be College Humor, and it is like a series of comedians that do all these shows, all these random like D&D campaigns and game shows and all this other stuff, sketch comedy. So this one, Game Changer, I put it back on and I paid attention this time, and it is the funniest damn thing I have ever seen. Sarah's like, what are you talking about? I do not remember this. It was an Apple TV. It was a random show we watched. I don't know. So Game Changer is great. It is, this Game Changer. Game Changer is, it's a game show, with all, improv comedians. And the thing about Game Changer is they don't know what the game is until they start playing it, and they try to figure out the rules of the game that they're actively playing, which is kind of insane. So one of the games that it's different every episode. So one of the games, the host is always the same host, you know, asking the questions, and then they rotate through the people that are on the show, and they're usually members of Dropout TV. So one of the games was simply he asked them the question of yes or no. That's it. And they had to say yes or no. And as like the three people were behind the podium responding to this, they were seeing that there were points awarded. And like, so depending on like, if one person said yes and two people said no, or all said no, and all said yes, there were different points being distributed. So it was really, really kind of interesting and funny at the same time. So Game Changer is really cool. The other one is called, Make Some Noise. Okay. So Make Some Noise is freaking great. Make Some Noise is one of the games that was on Game Changer. And Make Some Noise became its own show, and it's hugely popular on this. And the way that one is just the same every time, where it's just these really funny prompts that they kind of get thrown into. Think of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, but like more funny, more inappropriate, and more adult-like. Nice. And it is absolutely great. And the reason why I brought this whole thing up is because there's actually a Kickstarter right now where they're releasing an at-home version of Game Changer Make Some Noise, which I think is really cool because it's really funny. It's something where my wife and I were not necessarily always on the same page with like watching certain shows, but I chucked this on and she was laughing from the couch and we were both having a good time. So I think it's definitely something that we started watching, and I think you guys should check it out too. So it's on Dropout TV app. I think some of it's on YouTube possibly, but it's definitely worth a watch. That is a convoluted, long way of saying my Parenting Unplugged.
I like it. I like it.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our list of random Parenting Unplugged things. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're toys, sometimes they're movies, sometimes they're TV shows and apps you can't even find. Nice. Who knows? But I think we're just about out of time on this episode. It's been so much fun hanging out with Mike and Sarah as we talked about the stress, the feelings, the unnervingness of your children going out and going to parties and covering their drinks and learning about angel shots and how to avoid awkward moments and protecting your kids from the wild outside world as we know it. We're going to take a special moment to thank our listeners and supporters for joining us this show. If you want to support this show so we keep making episodes like this one, we have a link to donate in the show notes. If you don't have the means to do so, we always appreciate it when you tell your friends, your family, your random strangers, some person at the party waiting for a drink next to you about your show. If you don't have the means to do so, we really appreciate it if you tell them. That's what I just said. So we reach more listeners. Maybe we could learn from them. They could learn from us. There's a growing community. If you have a chance, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing again. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing with you next week on Hey the Parents, because each week it's an honest discussion about raising kids. Don't forget to hug your kids and charge yours Chromebooks. That's new for me, for Mike, for Sarah, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
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 Hey Other Parents, produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desravines, and me, Michael Haidt. I edited mixed our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you consider going to the show notes and help support the podcast. Check the show notes for social media information and contacts, and we look forward to seeing you next time.